What you need to do is be thankful for the life you got, you know what I'm saying?
They send pressure. Mayfield evades. In trouble. Stiff arm. Throws. How did he do it? First down.
Here comes the Hail Mary with the game on the line. And the ball is caught. It's a miracle. It's celebrated. Oh, my goodness. This town is going crazy.
Goff protected. Another completion. Another short one. And bouncing off the tackle is Montgomery. What a catch and run. Still going.
What is up, everyone? We are What's the Play? I'm Cory, joined as always by Lucas. It is October the 30th, the night before Halloween. How are you doing today?
Lamar's back. I'm doing great.
Yes.
It's a holiday.
Spooky season indeed. Back from the dead, more or less.
It's a holiday.
Yes.
I have my Lamar Jackson shirt on. The Ravens are my second favorite team. I'm an Eagles fan, but Lamar's my favorite player. I can't wait to watch him.
Should be really nice and exciting. I'm sure Ravens fans are really happy to have him back. That's for sure. So, as we always, we come on here live every Thursday to talk about the Thursday night game. This week is the Ravens, who are hanging on by their playoff hopes are kind of hanging on by a thread here. And they play the Dolphins this week, so we'll get into that. But first, kind of as we always do, we can maybe talk a little bit about last week and got maybe an interesting subject. I know I talked to you before we went live, which was the trade deadline is coming up, and maybe who we both like to maybe some probable trades that we'd see, or maybe we'll kind of discuss some teams that really should be trading. So we'll get into that. But let's start, as we always do, with maybe our best and worst bets of last week.
I'm not sure what you thought about tight ends today. It was not nearly as lucrative as was last season. Last season we had like 16 tight end touchdowns. We nearly get that. I think we had 13, 12 or 13 this past week, but not too many of the chalky tight end touchdowns. A lot of the chalkier guys: Tyler Warren, Jake Ferguson, Andrews likely.
Yeah.
A lot of the chalkier guys, they didn't score. Kyle Pitts.
The only real two chalky guys was obviously Kittle and Kelsey, right? But yeah, you're right. It was for tight ends day. It was kind of really poopy. I know you and I did some round robins and some straights there. Unfortunately, none of them really hit, just because the guys who you would have expected to be getting the ball, and even in some blowout games, who really had some chances, like Tyler Warren, for instance, as a guy you brought up in the Colts blowout game, and didn't get Dawson Knox, Kincaid, blowout games, did not get into the end zone. So, yeah, really kind of disappointing there. Very disappointing.
I went a little bit heavy there.
Yep.
I don't regret it too much. Granted, how tight end day went for us last season, but didn't work out. It's all right.
Yeah, I'm the same. I don't regret it. We're up perfectly fine for NFL season. So, when you get kind of middle of the season here, these are kind of the spots you really do want to be taking a chance. Burn a few units. It's okay, right? If you don't burn them, you'll never know. So I assume that's probably going to be maybe your worst bet of last week was the tight ends.
Yeah, just tight ends in general.
Yeah.
And I had a couple straights. The straights are actually very well last week, but overshadowed by going a little bit heavier on the round robins and the parlays for tight ends day. Not something I normally would do, but
right.
I took a chance and didn't quite work out. It's all right.
It happens. What was maybe your best bet then?
I'm not even sure, to be honest, off the top of my head. I don't know. The straights were hitting, but I didn't divide my units, I guess.
Yeah.
Tight ends day. It was a green week, but should have been much better with straights were hitting.
Yeah. Unfortunately for me, I finished essentially even. I was like a quarter unit red which was a bit of a bummer just because of the tight end thing that I did. That was, I guess I'll say, was my worst bet. But, one of my best bets, I've been doing this a lot, is I'll live bet a guy. And this last week was Xavier Hutchinson, who hadn't caught a ball at that time. And, I got him, I think it was just under 20 yards, might have been 19 and a half. And of course, he ended up going crazy for 60 some yards and a touchdown, but that really kind of has been almost seemingly the case all year, is where I'll live bet some guy and then he goes absolutely insane. And I never ladder them, but I'm sure as soon as I ladder a guy, won't even hit the regular line that I hit. So I don't know.
Showing out.
Yeah, I'm not complaining. The lives have been very good. I've really only missed 2 now so far this season. So I'm not going to complain. It's you're finishing green and hitting these nice live bets, which has just really been a nice change of pace for me personally, I guess. So,
well, I'm going to complain.
Yeah.
We're doing better. It's good as things have been going.
Let's talk about just maybe some of the games in general from last week, the winners and losers, I guess. So let's start off with a loser. Who was a loser from last week for you?
Off the top of my head, the Bengals.
Going down to the Jets.
The Jets have nothing to lose. Justin Fields, he got benched for like a day, but Tyrod was hurt, so he got back in the starting lineup, and Justin Fields pull out the first win of the season for the Jets, 1-7.
Yeah. What about your winner?
I'm not even sure about that one. A lot of losers this past week. Falcons are another big loser. Kirk Cousins did not look very good. Did not help his trade value. We talked about before we got on here about trade prospects.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins could have been one of those guys, but he really tanked his value.
A team, it's kind of hard. They're not my winner of the week, but what do you think about the Texans beating the 49ers? That was a good win for them. I know the 49ers are still kind of weird. They're banged up, regardless, I think they were 5-2 at the time. So, that turned out to be a good win. That's just an overall good win. You beat a winning football team that's likely going to win their division. So, I don't know. My loser of the week, I was going to say, that the Falcons. You have a dead Dolphins team come into your place, and I don't remember what the spread was, 4.5, maybe higher. Maybe it was 7. More than 7. And they just got routed. It wasn't even close. They got stomped, especially after what they did, last week. I kind of thought it would be a good bounce back. They'd lost to the 49ers the week before in pretty convincing fashion. And then you're thinking, all right, you go back home and now you get a really bad team that the coach is likely going to be fired here pretty soon, and they just get trounced. So, regardless, like you said, Kirk Cousins was in, but all around the Falcons should have been a much better team than the Dolphins. My winner, though, I'm going to go with the Ravens actually here. I was going to go Jets, just getting that first win.
That'd be the real answer.
Yeah, I think it's the Ravens. We were told Lamar was going to be playing, and then obviously come Friday, I think it was Friday afternoon or maybe middle of the day, he's not playing. And when he wasn't playing, the line really changed. And I thought they actually had a chance to lose that game. And, it looked kind of dicey maybe early on, but then, they handled business and really had a nice convincing win. So I think that was a must win for them, especially without Lamar. So
we talked about the Ravens quite a bit last few weeks in the show, but
yep,
I think they're going to run the table here.
Well, I think
they'll be 6-5.
Yeah. The funny thing I thought about, too, when that Lamar news came out was we'd already recorded the show, I think.
Yeah.
And we said, both of us agreed the Ravens were an absolute lock at -6.5.
Same thing with the Falcons, but
yeah.
Penix was rolled out for Cousins.
Yeah. So then, you see Lamar's not playing, and I was like, Jesus, that's not good. But yeah, it'd be my winner. They had to have it.
Definitely.
Just had to have it to stay in this race to even really to be talking about today's game, which we'll get into in a minute here. But I think we should talk about the trades deadline potential coming up. So, you said it was maybe Tuesday, I think, coming up is the day.
Next Tuesday.
Yeah, there's quite a few teams out there who could use some help in a lot of different ways. Maybe maybe give me a couple guys you really think are going to get traded to a team and why. Like maybe top 2 or 3 guys that you feel pretty confident are going to get moved.
Top of the list is Breece Hall. I think he's very likely going to be traded, maybe to Kansas City. That'd be something. Have Breece Hall and the Kansas City Chiefs. That's going to be a perfect fit for everybody.
Yes,
I don't know if
really
I want
would.
to see that, but perfect fit for Breece Hall. He's been tweeting a little bit. Might make you think he might be traded.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not exactly happy in New York. He's a little cryptic if you want to look into the inside messages with his tweets.
Yeah. I
Jets are 1-7. Why not? It makes sense to see what they can get for him. He's not happy there.
We talked about this just offline or whatever, that would be a really good fit. And man, that would really make Kansas City even nastier than they already are. And I agree. His tweets doesn't, he seems like he really wants out of that organization.
I think so.
Yeah. And can't say I blame him. Both you and I were, I don't know where you're at now, but year ago or 2, both thought that Breece was probably one of the best running backs in the league. And
yeah,
it's kind of hard to put him in that category right now, just given, the team he's on, how he's being utilized. So yeah, I mean, he's probably a guy that I wouldn't be surprised to be traded away. And for those that don't know, his contract ends this year. So
yeah,
even if they don't trade him away, he's very likely not going to sign back with the Jets.
Wouldn't think so. So
no.
See if you can get draft pick for him.
Yeah, get something.
What
about a second guy? Who's someone else you think is likely to get traded?
You talked about Mark Andrews right before we went on here.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's incredibly likely. Granted, there's likely there. I didn't mean to have play on words. I think likely is a better tight end at this point, but I don't think Mark Andrews necessarily be one of those guys I'd trade away.
Yeah,
hit for the locker room.
His yards after catch has gone down. He's still getting
the same player as he was, unfortunately, but
yeah,
I think he's a big locker room guy.
Yeah,
I think that would change quite a bit there.
Yeah. A guy, I'm not sure in terms of teams that are probably going to make some heavy moves. I would imagine the 49ers are going to be pretty aggressive given their injury situation. I saw an interesting one about them maybe getting rid of Jawan Jennings.
Yeah, I did see that. He deleted his Instagram the other day.
Ooh. Yeah.
Usually not a good sign.
No, and the thing is that a lot of people aren't really in the business of trading away good defensive ends, which is really, or ends or tackles, which is really who they need. I wouldn't be surprised. They've surely got to be calling pretty heavy on the Giants, trying to get maybe Thibodeau, or what is his name? Jeremiah or Jerome. He's their defensive tackle. Why am I blanking on his name? Johnson?
User not found.
Oh, boy.
Jawan Jennings.
Yeah. And if you trade him to maybe the Giants, that could make sense because they need wide receivers. So I just don't think they're really willing to part ways with one of their better defensive linemen. Another good spot that would be a good place to try and target would be the Jets. But it kind of depends on what the Jets think is going to happen, right? They have a great defensive lineman too. Are they willing to part with a few? Maybe you can get them to give you Will McDonald, who's a young player, very quick. You could get him cheaply. He's kind of a spot situational guy for them, although he's been used a lot more. that wouldn't be a bad spot. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that, both you and I probably read some of the same stuff. There's some interesting names out there to get traded. A lot of them not real super sexy, I guess, in terms of stuff. I didn't really see the Colts making too many moves. One team I do kind of find fascinating is the Bucks, because they're similar to the 49ers in terms of injuries. Do you think they're going to try and make a bunch of moves, or probably try and stand on it?
Probably to stand at this point.
Yeah.
I'll get McMillan back soon.
Yeah.
Get Bucky Irvin back.
Yeah.
Health at this point.
How long is he still planning to be out? He's a couple weeks away.
A couple weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's we'll see some of these trades. I think the interesting team to me is how aggressive does, like, say, the 49ers get, and how big of a seller are as a team like the Jets, who's 1-7. A lot of those if the locker room's really tight and buying into Aaron Glenn, maybe you don't want to let go of a lot of guys. So, and you feel like you need a few pieces and you'll be all right. I don't know. We'll see. I think probably come Monday, you're going to see a lot of trades happening, or maybe just prior to Sunday. So we'll go ahead and get into the game coming up. I don't know why the hell it's on NBA. Gross.
A few NBA games to talk about tonight.
Yeah, we will not be talking about NBA. So we got the Ravens. They're 7.5-point favorites against the Dolphins. It's in Miami. Why don't you maybe talk about just your general thoughts of the game and kind of some plays you're on right at, off the cusp here.
The obvious news is Lamar Jackson is back. That changes absolutely everything. Honestly, I think it's just all Ravens all night. Lamar, of course, is from South Florida. Zay Flowers is from South Florida. I think they both put on the show tonight.
Yeah,
all my props are Ravens props right now.
Do you think the one thing I've I was really eyeing this prop earlier, and it actually has dropped a little bit. It was at 35.5, and now it's at 34. That's really low, but
yeah,
I'm stuck in between a thought of, this is the first game back with Lamar. Are they just going to hand the ball off to Henry and just say, fucking don't run the ball, Lamar? Like, you don't go get hurt sort of situation. Or, do you kind of got to let Lamar be Lamar? So,
if you like Lamar rushing, I think his longest rush is a good play rather than the rushing yards in general.
I hadn't even thought about that. That's 15.5. Interesting.
It's a little bit lower on other books.
Okay.
If you think he just has one good long run, but doesn't run too much.
Yeah, and I think probably if you were to look at his attempts, it's probably, 6.5. I don't know. I just feel like that line's a little confusing. Normally that line's going to be 45-ish area. But when you're talking about kind of a bad team like the Dolphins, how much pressure are they going to get on him? Or, are they, maybe they're not going to try that and they're just going to drop 8. But that would be a terrible
Lamar
plan.
passing tonight. I think he has a good passing game.
I agree. I think as his first game back, you got to let him try and get back into a groove in a lot of ways. Which it actually kind of leads me into the play that I'm on that I'm already on, which is Mark Andrews' first quarter receiving yards. It's no secret he's one of, Mark is one of Lamar's favorite targets. Regardless, he kind of had a very mid game last week. I don't know. Like you said, I think this is the spot where you got to try and maybe just get him going early and get into a groove. Where the hell is the players at? Maybe it's down lower. I got him at 1.5, but actually I did it before before DraftKings came out with their line, which is actually a half a yard. Maybe they don't have it anymore. I don't even see it. So interesting. But you can still get it on DraftKings. It's literally for a half a yard, which is something I don't know. What do you think about that play?
I'm looking for it.
I don't even see it anymore.
Mark Andrews first quarter.
I guess they just split it up, which is fucking weird.
Right there.
Yeah, there it is.
Half a yard.
Half a yard. I think he catches at least a fucking pass in the first quarter. I mean, that's kind of what that says. He's going to catch a pass.
Yeah. Go forward for 1 yard.
So one of his favorite targets, I think, this might catch on the first drive, to be honest. I think their first play is a pass. I don't even think it's a run. I wouldn't be surprised if it is, but I mean, obviously wouldn't hate them if they ran the ball. You got Derrick Henry back there, for God's sake. So I know you're on a touchdown parlay, and I believe you used your boost, right?
Yeah, one parlay.
Yeah.
One straight.
What was that?
One parlay and one straight touchdown.
One parlay. Okay, yeah. What was the touchdown parlay?
Straight. And then I parlayed him with Henry and Isaiah Likely. Boosted it. Can't even see the odds on the screen, but
yeah,
easy boost.
Let me do it this way. There you go.
1390.
1390.
Yeah, Lamar's like close to minus 200 to have 2+ passing touchdowns. I think he might throw 3 or 4 tonight. Ravens are projected to score 4+ touchdowns, or like minus 160 to go over 3.5 touchdowns. I think that is all Ravens all night.
Yeah, it should
care
be
about
a big
narrative.
game.
I think that we talk about narratives a lot, but to have the quarterback and the team care about a narrative, Lamar's certainly going to want Zay Flowers to get in the end zone. We talked about it earlier this week. They're both, of course, from South Florida. Zay's going to have friends and family at the game.
Yeah.
I mean, both those guys, they're icons in South Florida. They spend all the free time there. They run football camps in the summertime.
What was the reasoning on Likely over Andrews? Just because he's younger, or?
Well, that's part of it. I've always been an Isaiah Likely fan.
Yeah.
I think it's a great matchup for him. They run so much too high. I think that Likely's so good after the catch. And he's due. He hasn't scored yet this season.
That's a good that's a good.
Lamar's going to want to get him in the end zone, whether it's tonight or next week, sometime pretty soon.
That's a good piece of information there, that he hasn't scored yet this week.
But I think Lamar's throwing for 3 touchdowns tonight.
I don't think. Has Hopkins
Derrick
scored
Henry's
yet?
Derrick Henry. I think he gets in the end zone once. Not worried about Henry.
Has Hopkins scored yet this year? I think he did. He had like a 2-touchdown game, if I remember right. Yeah. Otherwise,
Keaton Mitchell's the other interesting one, but I don't play him to score yet.
Who?
Keaton Mitchell.
Oh, yeah.
I played his rushing yards.
Actually, the funny you brought him up, I kind of like him as what we did earlier in the year when we did RJ Harvey. He might be like a garbage time TD.
Oh, yeah. I might bet him live if I do.
Yeah. That seems like a really good garbage time TD type guy. They're up shitload. Why run Henry all this time? Just put him in, sort of thing. So,
well, I do think it's a huge Ravens game. They can score 40+ tonight.
Yes. So other than
Lamar puts on a show, I think everybody balls out. Everything changes with Lamar in there.
Yep.
On both sides of the ball.
Other than the touchdown plays, you had one more straight, right? And you said you had Keaton Mitchell's rushing.
I've got Keaton Mitchell rushing yards, and I've got Zay Flowers receiving yards. Yeah, 4 plays for this one right now.
68.
Nothing on Miami.
Yeah.
No Dolphins yet.
What did you get Zay at?
66.5.
66.5. Yeah, I liked that play quite a bit. I hadn't played it yet myself. Be interesting since you said you really kind of like Likely too. You might be able to catch him live for some rush or some receiving yards there. You know, maybe after that first drive, his line drops to 19.5, just under 20. Be a good little spot there. Might be something to look at. We can go to, if we come to props, I'm just curious what Likely's.
Yeah, they've done too much this year. First game he was back, Lamar got hurt. Then he had Cooper Rush and Tyler Huntley.
Yeah, he's been pretty low. That's right. You know, versus Miami, though, the last 2 times, 43, 40. Seems like like you said, they'd play that 2 high safety. Seems like a good matchup. I don't know what Mark had versus them. Yeah, same sort of thing. 6,300. I mean, he balled out too, right?
I think tight ends against Miami have been the thing all season.
Apparently.
Not just about everybody against Miami, but
yeah, and even
they
last.
really shut down the Falcons. Bijan did not get his worst game of the season.
Well, it might be
a change when you have Kirk Cousins back there.
Do you think they're going to move Cousins at all? Because I know.
I think they wanted to, but I think maybe Payne probably could have played last Sunday. But go ahead and be protective of your franchise quarterback. See what you got for Cousins for a game. If Cousins balls out, somebody's going to offer him a draft pick. I don't know if it's going to happen anymore. They probably don't have any trade value now. But
yeah,
if Cousins did go out and win and throw for a couple touchdowns, I'm sure somebody would offer a mid-round draft pick for him.
The opposite happened, like you said.
But the opposite happened.
And he looked terrible. So now
because did not look good. They lost to the Miami Dolphins, and trade value is absolutely gone. So
0.
A week ago, that would have been a player I definitely thought would be traded, but I don't think so anymore.
I don't know what they do. I suppose they just kind of keep him on for a little while. You know, keep him at this point.
Yeah, Penix should be good to go this week. I think he probably could have played last week, but go ahead and see what we got in Kirk Cousins. They probably thought they were going to win anyways with Kirk Cousins against Miami, but
Jesus, you'd hope so, right?
Not how it panned out.
Yeah.
Bijan had no running room. It was obvious that he didn't have the rapport with receivers, and Drake London was out, so did not go well for Miami. That's a pretty big loser last week.
Yeah, I mean, overall, like you said, you kind of thought, or they definitely thought it didn't really matter. They were going to win, and instead they got, shit stomped. So, yeah, that's kind of a bad, really probably pissed them off, to be honest. That
I think that went the opposite of how they planned that.
Yeah, agreed. So
in both ways, and of course winning the game, but trading Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. Well, I think that's probably all we got for, we try to keep this show a little short. Just to
nothing on Miami's side at the moment.
What's that?
Neither of us have anything for Miami, the Dolphins.
I don't. The problem with trying to take anything from Miami is that I just don't know if at some point that team is just fully out and they're going to fire the coach. I still can't believe they haven't fired him. I come on here practically every week and I say, that guy's gone.
I know it.
And then he's there the next week and I look like a jackass, but it's like, I don't understand how they haven't fired him. I did see, I'm sure you saw this too, an interesting thought was to trade Tua away to the Raiders. I don't remember what the Raiders were going to give them, maybe just picks. But
okay.
I don't know if you're the Raiders, why you would take Tua. He's
I'm not sure about that one.
He's very fragile, obviously. A couple hits and he's cooked. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like they're just waiting around too much. You either need to be sellers or do something, because doing nothing is not really helping that team. Another one that I saw, which was interesting, was that the Dolphins would trade Tyreek away, but they're actually trading Tyreek and then giving picks to, I can't remember who it was, someone with a lot of cap space so that they could swallow the cap space for a year. And then in the summer, essentially cut Hill so that he's not on the books for the next year, but just it's kind of like we'll actually just getting the picks, but you're helping the Dolphins acquire more cap space. So I don't know. There's some interesting when you think about stuff like that, I'm not real deep into it. I just kind of deal with the results.
I try not to be.
Yeah. No one's calling me up and saying, what would you do?
Yeah.
Yes. So, I got nothing with the Dolphins. I just don't know where that team is at mentally. I feel like they're on quit watch every week.
I think it's the opposite for the Ravens. Their playoffs started last Sunday.
Yeah, they started Sunday, and it's all out, win every fucking game.
I think they're going to. I think it's going to be a lot of Ravens fans tonight.
Their odds.
Lamar Jackson is a guy down there in South Florida.
Yeah, their odds are still
a whole bunch of Ravens fans.
50-ish% to make the playoff, which is crazy.
They're favorites to win the division.
Mm-hmm.
After Pittsburgh lost Sunday night.
Yeah, oh yeah. It actually flipped. Pittsburgh had been the favorite prior to that, and
their schedule gets tough, and the Ravens have very manageable schedule, one of the easiest schedules rest of the season.
So catch a break there.
The Ravens, they run the table. They just about went out. I know their next 4 games they're going to win their next 4 games. Yeah. I'm not sure if you can bet that anywhere, but they're going to be 6-5, just like that.
Which is going to be crazy to think about where that team was, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago.
I mean, really, they're the biggest winner to win last week without Lamar.
Yeah.
Because now you get them back, everything's changed. They're in playoff mode. I'm not sure if you saw the things. They got all the ping pong tables and all the games out of the locker room. It's straight business now. They're in playoff mode already.
That was Lamar's doing too, I read.
And apparently it was Lamar that said that we're going to do that.
Yeah.
Get all the fun stuff out of the locker room. It's all business.
Yeah. Time to lock in. So.
Of course, everything changes when you got the 2-time MVP back there on both sides of the ball. I think you're going to see better on defense. Ravens' defense has not been very good, but you got Lamar back there. Everything changes.
Well, they're definitely going to be able to play a bit more, when the offense is clicking more, that defense gets more rest. So they're not going to have to be out there as long, which is going to help them tremendously. They're not going to feel pressure to get a stop every single time because they know Lamar's on the other side, at least can probably go get him at least 3 bare minimum, right? So,
all Ravens tonight.
Yep, it's going to be I agree. I think it's going to be a Ravens show. So, you got anything else you want to add?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't either. All right. Well, we'll keep it short like we normally do. We'll be back tomorrow.
Flowers likely anytime touchdown.
Lock it in, folks. We'll see y'all tomorrow for the Normal Friday show, and thanks for tuning in.
Hey. Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking, the hot box. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Cooking up dope in the crock pot. We came from nothing to something, nigga. I don't try nobody.